check it. Hey, check it. Put the place up. Hey, check it. Hey, check it.
Hello and welcome to the Local Gridiron on Local Radio. I'm Joe Dexter with Week 4 preview action. It's Jonathan Hatley joining me on the Local Gridiron. What's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. I know you're happy after this weekend's football games. Your Lions won.
Buckeyes won. Man, Jonathan, when you watch football and it's overtime and you've got 50 to 70 yards to go and 67 of them are on the ground and you get the win that way, is there any better feeling in football than when your team does that?
Oh, no, I can't think of any. You know, just your running game working like it's supposed to, getting yards the old way.
That's what David Montgomery did. The Lions win. But we're not here to talk about the Detroit Lions. We're here to talk Week 4 of the high school football schedule. We've got some great games. We'll talk about that coming up in just a bit. But first, let's review what happened on the field here locally in week number 3. First, we'll start with McMichael in South Stokes. I want to give a congratulations to Coach Tapley getting his first win against the Soras.
Yeah, Coach Tapley coached a back and forth, just a shootout of a game, got his first win as the head coach at McMichael. And, you know, McMichael was down at the half by 7, 19-12 halftime score. Wound up with a 37-34 final, and it came down to the last little bit. You know, they were down 4 with 50 seconds left, scored the last touchdown, kicked the extra point, and then closed the game with an interception in the end zone to hold them off.
That was a game just watching the highlights, and shout out to B Sync on YouTube who was there and covers Stokes County and some of our teams pretty regularly. But when you look at what happened in that game, it just seemed like a shootout, one of those games that you wanted to be at, that you kind of kick yourself that you weren't at.
Oh, definitely. And, I'm always happy to see my old high school get a win.
Absolutely, and they'll play in the Roco Radio Game of the Week as we'll bring you coverage coming up as we got McMichael taking on Southwestern Randolph. We also have Jonathan and Jay taking the Moorhead game at home against Williams. We'll have all that coverage on Roco Radio this weekend. One note before we get into previewing these games, Jonathan, is keep an eye on what is happening locally with the weather and how these games might change. Right now, it doesn't seem like they will. There have been discussions with some schools on changing their games to maybe Thursday across the state. So keep an eye on Facebook.com/Radio Rockingham. We'll keep you up to date. Either way, whether it's Thursday or Friday, we'll be able to bring you the coverage of these games. So hopefully we can do that on Friday, especially for you guys. I know Jay. Shout out to our guy Jay Ramey, who's calling a playoff game for the Greensboro Grasshoppers on Thursday. So we might not be able to bring you the Moorhead game if they move it to Thursday. Last talking with Moorhead officials, they had no plans on doing so. So hopefully that doesn't happen, and hopefully we bring you great action across Roco Radio this weekend. So I just wanted to get that information out there before we start. Let's take a look at some of these games, some big games coming up. The Week 4 local football schedule will start at the top. 3-0, Reidsville taking on 0-3 Eastern Alamance. The Eagles defeated the Rams 19-14 last season, Jonathan. That was a game that they want to get back.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it was the only game that Reidsville dropped last season, and Eastern Alamance has had a bit of a struggle this year. Lost big to Northern Guilford in week 1, lost to Southeast Alamance week 2, and got dropped by East Randolph last week. The Eastern Randolph's the number 3 1A team in the state. I think they'll try to give Reidsville their best. They always do. Eastern Alamance was always a tough out when we had to play against them when I was playing.
You look at their schedule, when you look at their record, I mean, 0-3. That's kind of surprising to me at this point, but with a new coach in tow, some things just take some adjusting to. We know they'll still be good despite being 0-3. When you look at what Reidsville did against Rockingham County last week in that 50-7 win, let's talk about what you thought your first time seeing them there when you saw them at Community Stadium, your overall thoughts.
Oh, I cannot imagine having played at Reidsville when I was in high school, the change that new stadium would make. It was always a tough environment to play in, but that crowd has just gotten so much more into it since I was in high school. It's insane. And Reidsville went out and they took care of business against Rockingham big time.
You look at what Deontay Neal did, a lot of the stats just tell the story at quarterback, but man, he's a difference maker on the defensive side of the ball, and he had an impact offensively against Rockingham County.
Oh, definitely. You know, he is a defensive back. You just do not want to throw to his side because he's going to try to pick it off, and he's one of the most successful at picking the ball off in Reidsville history at defensive back. And as far as his passing ability and his running ability, he can extend plays, he can get yards on the ground, and he can absolutely get them through the air.
Yeah, let's take a look at his numbers when you break it down. We'll share it on the screen here in just a second. You break it down, look at these numbers. 41 completions, 53 attempts, 77% completion percentage, 442 passing yards, 6 passing touchdowns, 196 rushing yards, and 2 rushing TDs. I believe we have a UNC Tar Heel in the waiting room.
That's a possibility.
We got a UNC Tar Heel man in the waiting room.
Look at who it is.
Just waiting for this man to say he's going to be in Tar Heel blue. David, what was your overall thoughts on what Deontay Neal did on Friday?
Well, he shut me up, that's for sure. All that quarterback spy, all that throw to his left, throw to his right. Nah, he shut me up. He's just all around. He's just a dude, man. He just knows the game of football. He's a facilitator. Like I've said before, he's a straight point guard, just like he is in basketball. He's the same thing on the football field. He's a stud, man. It's going to be hard to stop that tandem of the read option with Jarrell Cobb and Deontay Neal. That's dangerous.
In the comments, we've got Melita saying, hey, Joe and Jonathan, and hey, David. And the most important comment, he gets it done. Yes, he does. Deontay Neal gets it done. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this before we move on to the Week 4 games. By getting it done, too, he makes it easier for Cobb in the sense that you got a game plan in a read option type system. Where is Deontay going to go with the ball? Every coach getting ready to play Reidsville, the first question they ask when they're looking at their defense and preparing is, what do you do with Deontay? And then you've got Jarrell Cobb right there who's destroying the ground the way he's running. I mean, he is putting holes in turf. How hard he is running right now. So I think that's a very unique part of what's going to make Reidsville successful down this stretch and into the deep part of the season, into the playoffs, is the fact that Deontay Neal is the guy you have to watch over when it comes defensively, and it just leaves opportunities for Cobb.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, I mean, if you sell on the run and you try to shut down Cobb, Neal can just keep it on the read option, pull it back out of his belly and take it around the end, or he can play action through Cobb and throw it downfield. He's got so many ways that he can beat you. And, if you game plan and you try to shut down Neal, they've got Cobb right there waiting to get 200 yards.
And then if you don't got Cobb, then you got the mama. There goes that man, Cameron Jones. You got Penix. You got Frankie Galloway. I mean, they just have weapons everywhere. So when they're doing that read option, bam, then they can hit it outside. And there goes the neighborhood.
David Woods, Joe Dexter, Jonathan Hatley, the Local Gridiron here on Roadco Radio. As we get you ready for Week 4, we talked about Reidsville. I want to get your thoughts, David. Matching up with Eastern Alamance, what do you see in that game? Eastern Alamance unprecedentedly 0-3.
Yeah, they seem to be down this year. I don't know what's going on. Usually they're a pretty good ball club, and I know they just had Kirby. He retired this past year, and they got a new head coach from where's he from? Western Alamance, right? Yep. And I don't know. They're just a down year. So honestly, I don't see Reidsville having an issue. I can about see the same score as it was against Page. I mean, they might have a shootout here for a while, but I mean, just that read option in the running game, I think that's going to grind it out, and that's going to wear down Eastern Alamance. And I got them winning by at least 3 touchdowns.
Let's pull up, and Melita brings up a good point. Cobb has 552 yards and 7 touchdowns so far. But I want to break down these numbers a little bit closer when you look at them and a little bit more in depth at specifically how he's running the ball. I mean, it's one thing to have the numbers, but every single run is mattering right now. Look at these when we break it down, bring it up here. Per game, Western Alamance, 113 yards on just 8 carries, a 14 average, a 10.3 average, man. I can't believe he only ran it 10 yards per carry. 19 carries and 196 yards against Page, and then 27 yards per carry last week.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, Cobb's putting up video game numbers. It's ridiculous.
You look back
man. It's like well, I might not take you. It's like me playing college 25 against Joe Dexter a little bit. But he did get me last game though. He did get me last game, so I can't say too much.
800 plus.
I just want to know who you guys were taking in as your teams.
Oh, this last game that we played?
Yeah.
Joe, I'll let you.
So I was the Ohio State University in my house, and David was Rutgers, and I beat him by 7 or something.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and David swears now he'll never be Rutgers ever again, and I don't blame him.
Oh, dude, it was hard. It was so tough. That crowd noise stuff, man, I couldn't hardly do nothing. It was terrible.
Last year, Cobb had 5 100-plus rushing games. He's already at 3. He's 3 of 3 this season. That tells you the impact he's having offensively for the Rams.
Yeah, that's true. Last year they had a pretty complete team. You had Waterman back there. Who else did we have? I know we had Deontay Neal some. You had Jarrell Cobb. I mean, it was kind of a mix. That way they could keep people fresh. But, I mean, I'm not – I think Jarrell Cobb, he's durable for all season. He's just a straight dude. I think he's in the weight room. He's working out. He's keeping his body like he needs to. And to do that, I mean, he's getting ready to go to Division I. You have to do stuff like that. But I think, man, this might be one of the best 1-2 tandems I've seen in a long time. I mean, just the read option with how the agility and how fast they are, and just they're fundamentally sound on offense. I mean, once they get the snaps right from the center, which he's been doing a great job. But I mean, once they get everything kind of cleaned up as far as the pre-snap penalties, the bad snaps, they're going to be tough to handle, man. They are going to be a ball club.
Melita's got us. She says she'll keep us updated on both broadcasts of the Reidsville score on Friday night. So awesome. It will be on TV coverage with Spectrum. You can catch it on YouTube TV. If you have YouTube TV, just type in Reidsville in the search bar. The game will come up, and then you can even record the game as well and watch it later if you're like me and will be at a different spot.
And if you have YouTube TV, there's a place up at the top to where you can put 1, 2, 4 games at one time if there's games on Fridays.
There you go. They better put Reidsville in one of those boxes.
Oh, yeah.
They better do that. One of the things that I wanted to talk about before getting to the other games, too, was so we saw Western Alamance Reidsville game number 1, and it was the offense, they first time really going after it, not being vanilla like they were, and rightfully so. You can't run quarterbacks in scrimmages. You can't really get a feel for the offense if your two best athletes at quarterback aren't running. So we see that in week 1, and the passing game opens up a little bit dick and dunk. Then Jonathan and Jay covers the Page game, a little bit more opening up of the pass game, but more the same, using the pass to set up the run. But what we saw, guys, against Rockingham County, Deontay Neal, we can say he's an athlete. We can say he's a point guard, all this stuff. He can throw the football. He can throw it.
I think everybody's keeping their mouth shut on that high school trash page. Somebody said he had a what did they call it?
Like a noodle for an arm or something like that. Yeah,
noodle for an arm or a water gun arm. That's
water gun. That was it.
That's what it was. And no, sorry guys, but you're completely wrong. This dude can absolutely launch it. And I mean, accurately too. This is not just somewhere where he's throwing it up and hope they catch it. He is he can be a quarterback, man. He can play anything. That's what Deontay Neal does. He's a baller. He's a gamer. He can throw that football. And
he had one throw Friday night where he overthrew a receiver 40 yards down the field.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just ridiculous.
He's got an arm, man. So I think we can put that water gun arm stuff, we can put that to bed real quick.
It ain't even a super soaker. It's a fire hose.
It is,
dude.
On
his arm.
It is, man.
Well, let's take a look at some of the other games that we have going on this weekend. We'll start with Williams and Moorhead. Williams 2-1 on the year, taking on 0-3 Moorhead. Williams at Moorhead 3-0 versus Moorhead since 2016. 8-1 since 2004. Jonathan, you'll be there. What are you expecting in that game?
I'm expecting a steady dose of Williams quarterback Dan Mahan, 3-star commit to Duke. He's got 63.7 rush yards a game, so he can get it done with his legs when he needs to. Right now, he's only completing about 60% of his passes, but he's got 7 TDs and he's getting 240 a game through the air. He spreads it around different receivers. They've got 3 different receivers that are up around 80 yards per game catching. They got some solid guys on defense. A couple of guys with multiple interceptions. One guy playing linebacker, Nathan Williams Medley. He's averaging 13.3 tackles a game.
Man.
And you're going to have to keep him out of the backfield. You're going to have to keep him off your quarterback, off your running backs. And Elijah Kimber, 4 sacks on the season already. They're going to have a hard time.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have a hard time. And this is what's super interesting to me about all this. The great thing is we saw the future at North Carolina. That guy, as I'm going to add these highlights of Dan Mahan to the screen. When you seen Bryce Baker, you saw the future of UNC. Here's the future of Duke, man. These are the guys, when we're watching college football in about 2-3 years from now, these are the guys that might be leading the programs.
Who is that playing quarterback? Looked like Drake May a little bit. Wow.
He's got an arm. They run a system that fits him very well. I remember watching him as a freshman against Moorhead. They came to Moorhead the last time they were at Moorhead, and man, he did some good things that day, and he's done some good things so far. At 2-1 overall in the seasons, we get some of these highlights, and you see some of the arm accuracy. Look at the accuracy there on the placement and the deep throw.
One thing I like about him too is when he rolls out, he's keeping his eyes downfield and he's looking for his receivers. That's really good right there.
So he'll be the
guy his form's solid and he makes good decisions.
He looks good.
Look at that slicing the defense right there.
Wow. Oh no. Oh boy.
So that's
I'm gonna tell you, they're I think Moorhead, man, they're really gonna have to they're going to have to hold on to the football. They're really going to have to grind this one out and really chew some clock to keep this offense off the field with the way it's looking.
Oh, yeah. Their coverage is going to have to be solid on defense. Their tackling is going to have to be a lot better than it was against Northeast. And they're going to have to try to keep Mahan contained somehow.
Right there. Look at that, man. That's unteachable.
But like you said, David, they're going to have to grind down the tempo. They're going to have to get their run game going. They're going to have to get those 4 yards to carry and maintain control of the football to keep him off the field.
That's true. I mean, what I'm seeing right now, I mean, they spread the football out. It looks like it's some 5 wide. They got and he's playing pitch and catch right here in all these videos. And like I said, he's fundamentally sound. He's keeping his eyes downfield, looking for his receivers. That's a stud at quarterback right there. And
he's just carving them apart, finding the holes.
Where's he going?
Duke.
He's going to where they play football.
Oh, come on. Come on.
I'm just kidding. No, that I could get in
trouble. You're going to have to go against him, David.
Yeah,
hey, I mean,
it's going to be Bryce Baker of East Forsyth versus Dan Mahan for a couple of years, I feel like.
That will be awesome. And just watching Bryce Baker in the scrimmage at Reedsville, man, like he's got a bullet. You know, that ball, it just it's a as soon as I didn't have to see much. All I had to do was see a couple passes, and I'm like, okay, yeah. I ain't got to see no more. I mean, I know what you are.
He looked like a pitcher on the mound throwing straight fastballs. And the guys were catching them.
Hitting them in the chest, after chest, after chest. I mean, some of them wasn't caught. I mean, it was raining. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But, I mean, he was hitting them right in the numbers. I mean, he was good.
Yeah. And no looking them like Mahomes. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's some state championship run for that team, I'm pretty sure.
You know what makes this kid, I think, a little bit underrated? He's a 3-star quarterback, which is great, and committed to Duke. But at 6'2", this guy's got some wheels. He can run the ball as well, as Jonathan's kind of alluded to. This is a weapon, the legs, I think, that might be something Moorhead has to be ready for.
Go ahead, John.
He's the leading rusher on his team right now. His primary running back gets about 2 less yards a game than he does. So they're not a run-heavy team at all. But, you know, if he needs to scramble out of the pocket and he finds the hole, he will take off with it.
And that's what they're going – I mean, they're just going to have to be very disciplined on offense, man. They're going to have to really watch the zones, you know, when his receivers sit inside the zones and stuff like that. I mean, and it's going to be tough. I mean, like I said, you know, I think Moorhead really has to get a number of guys involved, especially on the offense. They have really sputtered a lot. I mean, you know, it can change. Trust me. They have track star athletes out there, you know, but you got to get DeQuay Matthews the ball. You got to get Octavius Terry the ball. You got to get Dom the ball, Dominique Harrison the ball. I mean, I would even run, you know, their quarterbacks. I would put Braxton Carter in there too. I mean, they all have to touch the ball evenly, I think, to keep everybody well rested and to keep that offense moving and get what they can. Because if not,
and you're going to have to keep Williams' defense honest too, because if they see a pattern where you're going to one guy and you're trying to feed one guy, they're going to shut him down.
Yep, and it'll be a long night. I hope not, but it's going to be tough.
Breaking news. We've got breaking news in the comments from Tyler Lester, who says Moorhead needs David at the reins. Rumor is he's the next Coach K in the coaching world. I would agree. Coach K with discipline. I mean, I even feel like there's some royal blue in the closet that he's hiding, Tyler.
No.
That might be. I'm
No.
not 100% on that. It's very possible, though. Very possible.
I appreciate it, Tyler Lester. Man, hey, I'm gonna make him my assistant. Then that's gonna be what we do.
The last time these two teams played was last year, that on the road, not very close of a ball game, but at home in 2021, a 13-7 ball game. I believe you were on the sidelines for that one, David.
I was on the sidelines for that. We had a little trick play. We called it NASCAR, and Jaden threw one deep, and they kind of we had two receivers. You had one cut in for a kind of like a little curl route. You had one guy going outside to keep. He stayed on the sidelines. Now that was Brent Barnes, and we hit one deep. Man, that place went absolutely nuts. I ain't never heard Moorhead Panther Stadium as loud as it was that night.
A 13-7 ball game. Britton Barnes now at Greensboro College. I'll never forget. That was one of my first major calls where I was like,
yeah,
oh, banana time.
Yeah, so what we done, I mean, pretty much it was two receivers set. You had one guy coming in for a hitch, and they were supposed to bite, and they did. They bit. Wham. There goes Jaden. Perfect pass right over everything. Britton was gone.
Final game that we have to look at here on the Roco Radio Local Gridiron Show is Southwestern Randolph taking on the McMichael Phoenix. 1-1 for Southwestern Randolph. Unfortunately, a bye in week 2 of the season for them. For the Phoenix, they get their first win in a close one against South Stokes last week. The Cougars defeated McMichael 20-7 last year. David, you remember when we met the Goats? You remember those days?
Well, the one thing I do remember is the fan being below us and kept yelling, "What? It's tater time!" so Hatley, every time this dude came in, man, he was pretty much the Wildcat quarterback. All he had to say is tater time, and we knew what was going on. And that dude was just bulldozing people over, man. He was a stud. He was fun to watch.
It'll be a little bit different this year. Noah Stills. Last year, 3 or 4 different quarterbacks played for Southwestern Randolph.
Yep.
And they rotated them in throughout. As I want to pull up some of these.
Yeah, so Tater was the Wildcat, and then they would bring in their passer back in after that.
Here's Noah Stills, just one highlight against Northmore, if I can get it to work right. But they get their win against Northmore on Monday. They take on McMichael, so Noah Stills will lead the offense. Otherwise, we don't know a ton about these guys.
Yeah, so right here, like I kind of remember a little bit, once they got in this formation right here, sometimes they would have like their running backs as a lead blocker, and they would just kind of do quarterback draws out of that thing right there. That's what it looks like to me. They were spread out last year, but they ran the ball a whole lot. So I expect that probably either Thursday or Friday night when we go out there, it's going to be a run heavy ball game again.
They were running the pistol against Northmore, and Waylon at tailback is a guy that we saw last year too. But other than that, I guess we'll find out what they bring to the table. As we see here, a shotgun formation with 2 shielding backs. So it'll be interesting to see what Southwestern Randolph brings to the table. David, what are you looking forward to see from McMichael, though, as we head into that game?
I want to see Tart run the wishbone. I want to see what that guy's got, man. I've heard good things about him, especially from Hatley and from the kid. I want to see what he's all about, and I've heard he's pretty good, man. He can really run that offense to a T, and that's what you need in a quarterback. You need somebody that has ice in their veins and that's going to pitch the ball at the last second. Now, good pitches now, not bad ones, but good enough to pitch the ball at the last second and give that running back another option to take off. I'm ready to see what he does. Michael Vasquez at the fullback position. Wow. I want to see what that's all about, because normally we've seen him just a lot on defense. And there it is right there. There's their spread, and then they do the quarterback draw. Yep, I remember this.
We saw a heavy dose of that last year.
Yeah, it was a heavy dose. So this is the guy right here. That's the guy we seen last year.
Yep.
So this is a guy right here that was their star quarterback. He would come in for strictly passing, and he would run a little bit, but then they would bring in somebody else that was a bigger guy that would just run straight, and they were just having blockers at like the two running back formations. They would just have him just lead right behind them, and that's what they would do all night long. And they're a good team. We don't know much about them, but
they are a good team. They got great leadership too from Seth Baxter, the head coach there, who's been there since 2017. So it'll be a good game to watch. I'm looking forward to seeing this defense a little bit too, just after seeing how they performed against South Stokes. I know it was a high-scoring game, but in key moments they stepped up. And I'm also looking forward to see the speedster man, Tyvon Dalton.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, like, I was McMichael's receivers' biggest fans last year. I was wanting those dudes to break out no matter what it took. I mean, you know, they're young. I mean, you know, they were going to learn. You know, in big-time situations, they kind of just didn't hold on to the ball like they needed to. But, I mean, you know, give them another year, let them develop, man. Tyvon Dalton, who was the other one? Braden Dalton. Am I right on that one?
Mm-hmm.
And we had one more that I can't quite remember, but they were all fast, man. They just need to get their hands a little bit better, and once they did, I think they were going to be tough.
What are some of your expectations for McMichael on Friday?
Well, take care of the football for one, because, you know, in a wishbone offense, I mean, you need to when you make that pitch, it's got to be a good pitch. If it's anything even behind it, that's going to be trouble all night long. So it needs to be a good pitch. From what I've heard from Hatley and the kid, you know, the quarterback and center snaps, they need to be up to par. They need to be, you know, no turnovers. We need to cut down on the turnovers. I want to see a little bit better defensively. I want to see what they got to do, you know, what they're going to do defensively on the 3-4 Bear. But other than that, man, I think they're going to be okay. I really do. I think once they get this offense a little bit more, it takes a little bit to adjust to a wishbone offense. But once they get it figured out and get things going, I think they could probably do some damage, especially Friday night or Thursday, whichever night we're going to play on because of the tropical storm.
Jamie Hunt in the comments adding wrong comment there. Let's grab it right here. Jamie in the comments, I live in the southwestern Randolph district. Baxter, in a local publication, was quoted to be happy about team speed this year. He called it basketball on grass. I believe
it. Yep. No doubt. I believe it.
I mean, the game last year, it was a 20-7 score, if I remember right, David.
Yeah.
It's somewhere around. But it felt like McMichael was out of that game for 3.5 quarters, just based on the physical speed of southwestern Randolph.
Southwestern Randolph was just physical all the way around. I mean, once they got a good enough lead, all they had to do was pretty much they put in what I wish I could remember this kid's name. I'm gonna call him Tater.
Hashtag Tater time.
They put Tater in, and once that was it, man, Michael just got tired. They got wore out. I mean, that running game was just beating them up pretty good, and once that guy came in, you know, that's all they did was to run a 2 quarterback set or running back set, and he just followed them as the lead blockers. And the rest was history after that.
All right, before we head out of here, let's talk some college football.
Ooh.
Thursday, Arizona State at Texas State, Northwestern State at South Alabama. So we don't really care about Thursday, all right? Friday, who you got? Number 20, Arizona at number 14, Kansas State.
20 Arizona, 14 Kansas State. Whew. I don't know. Kansas State's got a pretty good quarterback right now, man. He's got got a head of lettuce. He's got some nice hair on him. I got to go with Arizona on that one. They got a good quarterback. They got a good receiving core. They're very fast. I think they're a sleeper team, and they can run the ball. They're pretty physical too. I got to go with Arizona.
I wish we could watch this game. I've yet to watch. Noah Fafita has 595 passing yards.
Yeah.
Cool and everything, but the guy I really want to watch is Tetsuoa McMillan.
Yeah. Oh,
315 dude. Receiving yards, most of those in one game.
Wow. And you can't sleep on Kansas State either. They're one of these teams that nobody ever really talks about, but they get into the top 25 at the end of the year every year. I don't know how they do it. Nobody ever really speaks on them, but I mean, they make it in there. So they got a shot. But I think I'm gonna take Arizona on that one. What do you think, Hatley?
I like Arizona in that game. I'm not sure if I'm mixing them up or not, but didn't Kansas State struggle this past week with who they were playing?
Who'd they play, Joe?
Yeah, they played Tulane. It was a 34-27.
Well, Tulane's still, though. Tulane's tough, man.
They're a good team, yeah.
They're one of those teams that, they've been winning 10 or 11 ball games a year. And Tulane, I mean, how does the college football playoff format, I mean, I've got to get a little bit more. This is new to me. Every conference champion makes it in, right?
Yes, every conference
Yeah.
champion makes
And
it
Tulane, they've got a good shot at making the college football. And
then they fill the other spots with
I should say the Power
probably
4.
SEC teams.
That's what I was
The
thinking.
Power 4 automatically get in, I should say.
Yeah. So they get a first round bye. And then my boys, so I'm actually going down to, I talked to Joe about it, I'm actually going down to Lynchburg next week and watching them play East Carolina. So my boys from Lynchburg have got a chance to make it in the college football playoff, even though they got blew out by Oregon last year. It wasn't even a game, but, I mean, just being there, that's a good experience.
What did you expect, though? I mean,
I didn't expect nothing any less. I really didn't.
We got Oklahoma State at Tulsa, LSU at South Carolina. Alabama is at Wisconsin, noon on Fox on Saturday.
I still got Bama.
Wisconsin had a hard time against Northern Illinois.
If Phil Longo can keep his
yeah, and then Northern Illinois goes and beats Notre Dame.
Right.
Northern Illinois is nothing to sleep on.
No, they're not. That's for sure.
Let's see. Any other Boston College, after Boston College did their thing against Florida State, they're taking on number 6 Missouri at 12:45. Oregon and Oregon State. Notre Dame looking to bounce back against Purdue. Is Marcus Freeman fired if they lose against Purdue?
Absolutely. He's done.
Yeah.
I mean,
You don't lose that rivalry and stay at Notre Dame.
They'll
lose
probably
that rivalry after losing to Northern Illinois.
he hasn't had a good track record. So, I mean, he's won games, don't get me wrong, but first he lost against Marshall. Now Northern Illinois. It's not looking too pretty for him.
Duke is taking on UConn. That's
Oh,
a challenge.
Hey, we got to pull for our boy Austin from up there in Connecticut.
There you go. Well, not that UNC is a tough opponent either. They've got North Carolina Central. Might be tougher than UConn, though.
Well, yeah, probably. I would say so. UConn's not really that good at football.
Georgia and Kentucky.
Aren't they 2-0 this year, though?
Hey,
Who have they played?
look at Hadley. Now, Maryland, they lost 50-7. Now, they did do a better job against Merrimack than Air Force did. They beat them 63-17.
Well, they did.
There it is.
What's their schedule? With the way their schedule's looking, that might be the last one they get for a little while, won't it?
Ooh.
Well, maybe
FAU,
UMass.
Buffalo. Ooh, they got UMass
That
at the
that
end of
Air
the year.
Force San Jose State game was a disaster.
Oh, it was bad.
I didn't know the head coach from Navy was there now.
Oh, Nehemiah Lolo.
And he's running a shotgun of all things. I would think, okay, well, he's going to come in there and run the triple option. No, he's running shotgun.
He ran some shotgun when he was at Navy. He didn't stick to that triple option formula that service academies do when he was there. But,
Yeah.
you know, he knows what's effective against Army and Navy, without a doubt.
Yeah.
All right, let's get a little controversial here on the local gridiron.
Oh, boy.
Colorado at Colorado State. Is Coach Prime going to make it a nail biter like he did last year? Is Shador going to call his offensive line afterwards, or is he going to have a great game? What's going to happen in this one?
I think Colorado wins that one. Colorado State stinks this year.
I got Oh, boy. Yeah, I got Colorado. So, I was
That
trying
might be Air Force's only conference win with the way they're playing is Colorado State.
Yeah, so we're all for me, the kid, Hatley, Joe. We're all in this ESPN College Game Day pick'em, and I've been talking about this game all week. I'm like, yeah, Nebraska's going to win. Nebraska's going to win. And at the last second, I'll be like, man, could I steal a game from Jay? Could I steal one from him? Absolutely not. From start to finish, it was terrible. I have never seen something as terrible as that. I mean, at first, I'm just going to be honest. At first, I'm like, man, Deion's going to be great. He's going to be good. I think he's going to be a good coach, a great recruiter. But now it's just like this dude is just all promotion and no coaching.
I think he'd be a great DB coach somewhere,
Yeah.
but he's got no business running a team. Sorry.
It's looking ugly. I mean, you know, he done good in the HBCU. He done really good, and now he's with the big boys, and it's looking a little rough for him.
If
but
he gets an I don't think it's over yet. Hear me out. Hear me out.
It's not.
Hear me out. It's over with in 2024. It's over.
Yeah.
The product that we see on the field, they just cannot run the ball. There's no way for them to run the ball.
No.
You got to run the football, especially in the Big 12. I know it's a passing league. I get it, guys. I understand.
I was going to say.
You got to set up the pass, though. Like, you can't. What made Nebraska so successful in that game is being able to set up the pass with the run. Everybody knows when Shedeur steps back 56 times, that 36 of them at least are going to be short little pass plays that are supposed to manipulate the run and make up for not having a run game. So if he realizes that it's more about the big guys up front and the transfer portal works out this year in that aspect, I think Colorado can turn it around next year, but it's gonna be a tough turnaround. Like I saw some major analysts saying that it's Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, and an FCS roster.
I can't disagree with that.
That's a good point.
I can't disagree. I mean, the transfer portal is really good. Don't get me wrong, and you can really find some good pieces to add to your team to make to fit in. But to restack a whole offensive line from the transfer portal, they've got to have continuity and really
a whole running back room.
That's tough, man. I mean, they got to have at least a year to gel together. I mean, it's not going to take a couple of games. It's going to take most of the year to try to gel together because you're just meeting these guys out of nowhere, and some of them are coming in a little bit late, trying to learn the offense and learn everything there is to learn. I mean, you got to build continuity. You got to build, it's tough, man. But, I mean, I get what he's doing. You got to get with the times, but he's overhauling his roster every year.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Shedeur's a senior.
Yeah.
His other son, what year is he?
Shiloh is a senior. I think Shedeur is actually a junior.
Yeah, he's a junior, but he'll be gone this year regardless. For
Shiloh
okay.
is a senior, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Shedeur will declare for the draft. Shiloh won't go drafted, and Deion will be gone.
You think so?
I don't think he'll stick around without his boys coach. I really don't.
Shedeur's he's legit. He really is. He's the real deal quarterback, man. He just needs a little bit of help as far as the offensive line goes. I mean, he can't do it by himself. I mean, you can only do so much as a quarterback. I mean, the last couple games, or the last game before that, he actually threw for over 400 yards and had 4 touchdowns and 1 pick. I mean, but it was still a struggle against North Dakota State, which, don't get me wrong, North Dakota State is good now. They're national champions in Division II. But
yeah, I think they
he can't do
I think they were competing about annually with App State before App State moved up.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
In a comment as controversial as putting butter on your peanut butter sandwich, Melita says, transfer portal and NIL hurt college sports, just my opinion. I think that's a lot of people's opinion. I do think that there's a fine line. I think NIL could be great for college sports.
Yeah. So
there's no governing body, though.
Yeah, there's the NCAA is gone. They're off.
All the money is going to go to the huge programs. It's going to go to the Alabamas. It's going to go to the LSU's. It's going to go to Ohio State. Sorry, Joe. But all the money's going to go to the major programs,
Shots
and
fired.
That shot's
I
fired.
mean, let's think about this. You've got the service academies. They historically have been competitive. No players can accept NIL money.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I like the
and at least 2 of the 3 service academies are usually winning programs per season.
so the
Yeah,
transfer.
usually you've got at least 2 of them that have a winning season.
Yeah, at least.
Somebody will have a down year every year, and this year it looks like it's going to be Air Force because Army looks strong and Navy doesn't look bad either.
Yeah.
Air Force stinks this year.
Yeah. I think honestly, man, with the transfer portal, I think you should get one time only. If your coach leaves, okay, I get it. I understand that. That's not the coaches that recruited you. Understandable. If you're not getting enough playing time, you get one time. You transfer one more time. That's it until you're done. The NIL, I mean, I love the NIL. I really do, because at any point in time, you could have a career-ending injury and nothing to fall back on it. I mean, you got a good – you can still get your education, but you wouldn't make the money that you would in the NFL. So, I mean, try to get what you can. I mean, college football is going to get theirs. They're making – it's a billion-dollar corporation if you want to be honest about it. They're getting their money. So, I mean, give back to the students a little bit. Let them have a piece.
Oh, yeah. And anybody, if y'all seen the movie The Program.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
You had those ASU guys, and they're taking money from boosters. That stuff's always been going on. Don't fool yourself.
Yeah.
But, he's like, they'll be paying us anyway. The athletic department gets $3 million just for going to a bowl game.
Absolutely.
SMU never did anything wrong. I don't know what you're talking about, John.
I tell you what. I tell you what you do. You go on Netflix, you find the documentary Express Train about SMU, and you watch that whole thing, and you're going to have a whole different outcome when it comes time.
Eric Dickerson didn't get 4 different cars. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, come on now. We know what happened. I mean, I just really I agree with I like the NIL. I mean, it's a lot of money. But I mean, like I said, college football is getting theirs. Now, one thing that I'm anxious to see what's going to happen is public schools and high school, with how that's going to work out. Because it's coming.
It's here.
It's coming, regardless of whether we like it or not. Now, with kids that age, picking up that kind of money, if it's out there, which it is out there, man, I don't know.
We'll see.
Oh, you got to think about guys like Bronny James. His name was already out there when he was in high school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And, we're talking basketball versus football, but, he may be successful, he may not be, but the only reason his name recognition was where it was because of who his daddy is.
That's true. That's true.
Could you imagine if LeBron James had NIL rights as a high schooler?
So
Or Bryce Harper, for example, these guys that had the mega names that were on Sports Illustrated covers in high school.
Right.
Crazy. You know where I think Bronny James would have fit in pretty good at Carolina.
Wow, basketball? You're getting desperate.
I would have liked that.
He would have died in that system.
David Woods is asking for Bronny James at UNC.
I didn't ask for him.
No,
he has talked about.
Come on, David. He averaged 5 points a game at USC.
No, I'm talking about LeBron James.
Oh! I thought you meant Bronny.
Not Bronny.
Bronny.
No. He's. I mean, honestly, he was all right. I mean, he's a development player. I don't see him as a future starter in the NBA. I mean, he's there because of his dad. We all know that.
I thought LeBron James was going to be Bronny James was going to be a Ohio State Buckeye. That was supposed to happen.
Yeah,
LeBron's a huge Ohio State fan.
So he went to USC because of his dad lived out there in California.
Right.
I mean, was it just to stay close with everything?
Stay close, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a good player. It's just, you know,
I don't see what being a backup at USC and averaging 5 points a game qualifies you to be in the NBA.
Shots fired.
It's the Local Gridiron talking high school football and Bronny James here on this beautiful Tuesday. David Woods, Jonathan Hatley, Joe Dexter. Guys, I'll get your final thoughts. Jonathan, let me know what you're looking forward to heading to Moorhead to see Williams and Moorhead. And David, after that, let me know what you're looking forward to the most on Friday night.
Moorhead and Williams, you know, when I'm not pulling for Air Force, I'm pulling for Duke. So, you know, I might be seeing the future of Duke football. Who knows? I think Moorhead's going to have to keep him contained, and I don't know if they've got the weapons to do it. Their offense is going to have to maintain control of the ball and keep him off the field. That's going to be their way out.
That's it. That's it. Well, you know, if he does another game with us, I'm not letting him cook anymore. I'm not letting him do his thing. He wants to mention that Duke stuff. No, I'm just kidding with you, buddy. With McMichael, man, get to see the wishbone. I mean, we haven't seen that much around Rockingham County in a long time. I mean, it's been a long time. I'm anxious to see how that offense is going to run and how it's going to facilitate, you know, how Tard is going to be at quarterback. I'm anxious to see that. Like I said, Vasquez at the fullback position. I want to see how they're going to do, man. I want to see that 3-4 bear. I mean, it's going to be good to watch. You know, my nephew, he's coming up, and he's actually going to be a starter for Western Rockingham this year. So he's going to be moving up to McMichael next year. So he's going to get a taste of Coach Tapley and stuff like that. And so I'm going to have to be a diehard McMichael fan come too long.
And with Southwest Randolph being pretty run heavy, that Bear defense, that might be the ticket to shutting that run game down. They hadn't had that the last time they faced them.
Absolutely.
And that option, I think if Tart plays the kind of game that he's capable of, you're going to be impressed.
Yeah, that's good, man. I can't wait to see it, really. I'm ready to see it.
It's Local Gridiron Week 4 preview. We'll be back reviewing this week later this weekend, early next week, as we say goodbye to the pup. And we say goodbye to Jonathan Hatley, David Woods, and yours truly. I want you all to have a great weekend. Enjoy local football. Get out there if you can to watch it. Get out there and support our local teams. If not, you can find us on the airwaves. We'll start in Eden. It's the Moorhead Panthers hosting the Williams Bulldogs at 7:30 pregame at 7 o'clock with Jay Ramey and Jonathan Hatley. Then flip the switch at 7 o'clock. It's the Southwestern Randolph Cougars and the McMichael Phoenix on Friday. Your pregame show also at 7 o'clock on the Local Radio Game of the Week. Your pregame show at 7 with kickoff at 7:30. We'll keep you updated on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Radio Rockingham. That's facebook.com/Radio Rockingham, or search for Local Radio and follow us. We'll keep you up to date if any of these games do get moved. Right now, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, there's potential for the McMichael game to be potentially moved to Thursday. Moorhead and Reedsville, it seems that those games will be played on Friday. But we'll keep you up to date on all of that on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Radio Rockingham. Well, for David Woods and Jonathan Hatley, I'm Joe Dexter. Go Air Force. Go Ohio State. UNC stinks.
Hey, check it. Hey, check it. Put the place up.